Well, hello, everyone. Monday has rolled around yet again, and we want to welcome you to the Monday Mindset. Thanks to those of you who are joining us on the Giant platform. So glad you're with us. Hope you're enjoying the platform. And then if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook Live, thanks for joining us there as well. We always love to have some chatting going around in the background. So if you have questions or comments for Kevin as we go about our about 30 minutes together, just put it in the chat and we'll see if we can't get to them. Hello, Kevin.
Good morning, Tracy. How are we doing on this Monday?
I'm great. Yeah. How about you? Busy weekend?
No, the opposite. We did nothing, which was great.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I don't love hard work. This is not a surprise to people in the office. I don't love hard. I mean, I will work hard, love building things, love creating stuff for leaders and teams, but I love being able to relax, but I also don't relax very well. So it's this weird mix. And so we had nothing this weekend, no baseball tournaments, no baseball practices got rained out.
Nice.
So it was just a weekend of hanging out and doing nothing. And it was great.
That is great. Every once in a while, we need one of those.
We do.
I'd say this about you. You're one of those who knows how to work smart, right?
Yes, that's right.
Smart.
That's right. I'm efficient.
Yes. No, you do work hard. Well, that's very cool. I'm glad you got some downtime. That's wonderful. I've been meaning to ask you. I don't think I've ever asked you this. I know you are a sports fanatic, but which sport do you like to play the most, and which one would you rather watch? Or can you pick one of each?
Yeah, so I grew up, basketball was my sport growing up. I played basketball, played baseball, played golf, but basketball was my sport. But right now, if I were to go play a sport, probably golf would be my preferred, mostly because my almost 40-year-old body can handle that
Yeah.
better than running up and down a basketball court. So right now, probably playing golf. Favorite sport to watch right now? I mean, that's tough. Because I like a lot of sports for a lot of different reasons. I love college football, love basketball, especially like March Madness or the NBA playoffs. Baseball, I'm not gonna lie, it's tough for me to watch baseball other than the playoffs when it really matters. Love watching golf. Yesterday with the PGA Championship, Phil Mickelson, 50 years old, winning the major. Golf during a major weekend is pretty special. So it's tough for me to say which sport I love watching the most, because I can watch almost anything.
That's good. Yeah, I can't. So good for you. I have an older brother, only one sibling, older brother, and he played baseball growing up. So we always have baseball on TV. So
Yep.
I guess that's what I would choose. But it's not Fast and Furious or anything while you're watching.
Yeah, I will say though, softball, totally different. Now, I love watching college baseball on TV. So like right now, college baseball is in the postseason tournaments, and so those are a blast to watch. Usually college baseball isn't on TV until like right now. College softball is insane to watch. It has become one of my favorite sports to go watch in person, but also on TV. Softball is crazy.
You're right. With this Saturday, I actually watched a little bit of the women's softball OU versus Wichita.
Yep.
It was really interesting. I was
Oh, yeah.
impressed. So those girls were amazing. It looks like Laura here is joining us from the UK, and she's all about cricket apparently, but it's rained out there too. So
yeah, see, that's a sport.
Well, very good.
It's fascinating though with Americans, like, we don't watch cricket. Is not a thing in America. Massive global sport, not a thing at all in America. Soccer, massive global sport. It's becoming a bigger deal, and it has over the last 20 years in America. But the global perspective on sports is always really interesting.
I know, isn't it? I think it's very, very interesting. Well, tee us up for today. What are you going to talk about today?
Well, on the topic of sports and college softball, so the NCAA Division II. So right now, a lot of postseason events are going on for the NCAA at every level. And softball, as you mentioned, OU is playing in their regional Division I, Division II, Division III, all these tournaments going on. And the Division II, one of the regionals was hosted here in Oklahoma City, or in Edmond, a suburb of Oklahoma City, last week. And so I went out to watch some of the games. I'm fortunate to work with the number one team in Division II, Augustana. We do a lot of work with OU as well, number one team in Division I. So I went out to watch some of the college softball this weekend. and watched several games over the past week. And one, they're just a blast. These girls are unbelievable athletes, unbelievable at their craft. But I sat and watched one of the games, and I noticed the center fielder for this particular team, over the course of the game, like nothing was hit to her. Like through 5 innings, not a single ball went to center field. And it didn't even come within the vicinity of center field. But every play, she was ready. I happen to notice like every play, like she's dialed in, she's in the ready position. Every time there's a hit, she's moving towards the ball. Like she was always ready to make a play, but the play never came to her. Well, then in the 5th inning, all of a sudden somebody hits a ball to center field, and she was ready and she made a play. And it was a critical play in the game that actually helped her team win. And it was just one of those moments for me. Like I try to get better. I'm trying to get better at being aware of just things happening around me and the lessons to learn from just kind of everyday moments in life, and what that means for mindset, what that means for leadership, what that means for relationship, what it means for culture. And what I noticed with this girl is something that I think a lot of us face, right? Because it would have been really easy for her to say, like, I can take a play off. I mean, 5 innings, not one ball has come my way. What are the odds that they're going to hit it to me? I'm good. I can take this play off. I don't need to be ready. And that ball would have come to her, and she wouldn't have been ready. And it would have gotten by her, or she would have missed it, or she would have been scurrying and made an error. She wouldn't have been able to help her team win because she wouldn't have been ready in that moment. But she was ready. She stayed focused. She stayed committed. She stayed aware. She stayed prepared. And because of that, when she was needed, when her best was needed, she was able to make a play, and a critical play. I think a lot of us, like we go through the day, we go through the week, we go through a month, and it feels like things just aren't going our way, right? The action isn't coming to us. Maybe we didn't get the interview. Maybe we didn't get the promotion. Maybe we didn't get the sale. Maybe just things aren't going our way. Maybe you're not being called upon to step up. So it's easy to say, hey, nobody's paying attention to me. I don't need to be my best today. I don't need to be ready. This day is about this person. I'm not going to get the interview anyway. Whatever it is, it's easy for us to get complacent and take the day off, to take the play off. And when I say take the day off, I don't mean to rest, right? That's a very different thing, and we should do that. But it's easy for us to take the day off, meaning we just go through the motions. We don't really pay attention. We don't bring our best. We're not intentional, right? There's that word again that we use probably every week on Monday Mindset, of being intentional. Regardless of what's going on around us, we have to be ready. We have to be intentional. We have to be prepared. Or that moment arrives where we need to be ready. We need to be at our best. We need to speak up. We need to take action. We need to make a decision, and we're not ready. And then we miss our moment. Maybe we hurt ourselves. Maybe we hurt our team. Maybe we just undermine our influence. But we don't make the play when it comes to us. We don't step up when we're called upon. And then we start to complain. It's like, well, we weren't ready. Right? You weren't in the right mindset. You weren't prepared. You weren't focused. You weren't aware. You were just kind of going through the motions. And if you're just going through the motions, you can't be ready when you're needed. And so it's a reminder of us, like, to show up in each moment with a certain level of intentionality, because you don't know when your best is going to be required. There's a phrase that you hear all the time in sports and maybe in business as well, that you don't need to get ready if you stay ready. Right? And you don't rise to your level of hope. You rise to your level of preparation. You rise to your level of intentionality. And so if you approach each day as like, hey, this day, this moment is the most important moment of your life. Why? Because it's the moment right now. That's all you have. And that can seem, overwhelming or maybe a little bit cheesy, but it's the truth. All right, today is what you have in front of you. Today demands your best, because you don't know what today is going to throw at you. And so if you're not ready, you're going to miss your moment. If you're not ready, the opportunity will pass you by. You're not going to be able to make the play when you're needed to. But if you're ready, when the ball comes your way, you're able to make a move. You're able to make a play. You're able to make the decision to step up in a meeting, to move forward on a project, to take ownership, whatever it may be that requires your best today. Like, today is the most important day of your life. What are you going to do with it? What if you actually live that way? Because we're not guaranteed anything other than this moment. I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. I don't mean that to be fatalistic, but we're not guaranteed anything. Hopefully the last year has taught us that. Like, we are guaranteed nothing. So why wouldn't we bring our best to this moment? If today is the most important day of your life, then today demands your best. So are you going to show up? You know what? Like last week nothing really came my way. So I'm just going to kind of coast this week, kind of go through the motions. Or are you going to show up saying, who knows what comes at me this week, but I'm going to be ready. I don't need to get ready. I'm going to stay ready. I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to be ready with my mindset, be ready with my skills, be ready with my communication. Because your moment may come today. It may come tomorrow where you are needed. The team will need you at your best, and you want to be able to be counted on. Right? That player, had she not been ready, she would have let her team down, which is going to undermine her influence the next time she's needed. I don't know if we can count on her. She wasn't ready last time. We're trying to go this direction. We're trying to become this type of team, this type of organization, and maybe they're not on board because they weren't ready to help us move in that direction. Well, now they've lost influence. Not only did they not perform to their potential, now that people don't know if they can trust them to be ready to do their job. It's like everybody has a role to play, and we should be committed to playing that role to the best of our ability every single day. If you want to get to where you want to be and become who you want to be, well, that demands that you stay ready today. So I think it was just a reminder to me of what it looks like to stay ready, right? What it looks like to not take a play off, what it looks like to not get complacent. And that's the mindset that we have to have each day. All right, if we want to unlock our potential, we have to be ready every day. So we never know when our team is going to need us. We never know when our family is going to need us. And so we have to be prepared for those moments. One of the things I talk about in the book is that you are prepared in the moment because you prepared for the moment, right? She was prepared in that moment. She was ready because she had done the work. She had practiced. She knew what to do in that moment because she anticipated being in that moment. My 12-year-old, his coach for his baseball team, when they're on defense, he's like, guys, you need to be thinking 3 things on every pitch. All right, when you're in the field, if you're playing second base or shortstop or outfield, whatever, every single pitch, you need to be thinking 3 things. Number 1, the ball's coming to me. That means you're ready, right? You anticipate that the ball is coming to you. Don't think, they're not going to hit it to me. No, you assume this person's going to hit it and hit it to you. That means you have to be ready. Number 1, the ball is coming to me. Number 2, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop the ball. Number 3, I'm going to make the right play. So it's coming to me, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to know what to do with it. Well, that's a mindset of preparation. That's a mindset that requires that you stay ready. So every single play, you're thinking, okay, there's a runner on first. Okay, if it's coming to me, I'm getting it, I'm going to second, or whatever the play is, right? That has to be our mindset with each day. Expect good things to come to you. Expect the moment to come to you. Expect decisions to come to you. And then be ready for it. Be prepared for that moment. Be prepared to make the decision, to step up, to take ownership, to do whatever it takes to move forward and to make progress. But that doesn't happen if you don't stay ready. It doesn't happen if you show up accidentally. It doesn't happen if you show up and just go through the motions. If today is the most important day of your life, then today demands your best in every moment. Tracy, any thoughts on that?
Oh, I love it. I mean, preparation as a mindset, that's great. This is a good question coming in. It's a kind of a long one. So Thomas is saying, I'm in my 50s and have been at the same job for 15 plus years. I feel like I've gotten complacent. I'm not growing. I've been passed over for several promotions and I need a mindset shift. Here's more. What would you suggest my first steps be? Should I look for a new job or environment and just start over?
It's a great question, Thomas. I don't have an answer, but I have thoughts. It happens, right? Don't beat yourself up over it. It happens. We all get in those situations. 2, maybe you're being looked over because of your mindset, right? To consider that maybe your mindset getting complacent has impacted the way that you've shown up, which has caused them to overlook you, where they may have been thinking, man, we thought Thomas was it, but he's just not showing up like to the potential that we see in him. Could be, right? That I've been in that situation. I've been in the place where like my mindset is impacting the way that I show up, and I've got to take ownership of that. And so I think maybe it's time to move on, maybe not. But I think the first thing I would do is just try to reset your mindset every day. Like you're in the job that you're in. All you can do is bring your best to that job. Maybe you get a promotion, maybe you don't, but all you can do is bring your absolute best to that job. And to be honest with yourself about, like, assess yourself, like how are you currently performing versus your potential? Are you at 30%? Are you at 60%? And how are you performing versus expectations? Are you just going through the motions? Are you just doing what's expected of you? Or are you going above and beyond? Are you actually committed to that role and to adding value in that role? And if you haven't been, again, that's okay, right? It's not about beating yourself up. It's just about acknowledging, you know what, maybe I haven't been bringing my best. Here's what my best looks like. And if I want more influence, if I want promotions, if I want to have a chance at those things, because there is no guarantee, right? You could do all the right things and still not get the promotions, but you want to give yourself a chance. And that requires that you show up in a different way. So I think my first step would be just hitting reset on your perspective and on your mindset. Saying, man, I'm grateful to have this job. It allows me to go to work every day, to add value, to provide for myself, for my family, whatever you get to do. And man, I need to be more intentional with the way that I show up at this job. It may not be the job that you necessarily want right now. It may not be the job that you hope that you would have in this season. That's okay. You can still be grateful that you have that job. Show up, add as much value as you possibly can, and then give yourself some time. Maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 6 months to start to change course. And if it's still not working, right, you are adding value, but you're not getting noticed. You're not getting the opportunities that you think you should be getting. Then maybe it's time to move on. Maybe it's time to hit reset somewhere else. But I think also maybe even having a conversation with those above you, saying, I'm really interested in this. I know, honestly, like, I get why you guys maybe haven't picked me. I probably haven't brought my best every day. I'm owning that, but I am interested in moving up. I am interested in these other positions. Here's what I'm committed to doing to getting better. Is there anything you guys need from me? Is there anything that I'm missing? Is there anything I can do to add value? And being willing to have that conversation. So that it reminds them, oh, he's interested and he's being intentional. And he's not just sitting by hoping for it. He's actually going for it. So I think being able to have some of those conversations, I think, would be helpful. Tracy, what do you think?
I agree. That's what I was thinking, that it's probably worth a conversation, but you're going to have to show them that your conversation isn't just words, right? Like you said. So be ready to really prove what you're trying to show them. So that's good.
Yep.
All right. Here's another one. Virginia is saying, my team as a whole is very negative. What are some ways I can help change their mindset? I'm trying to just be a good example, but it doesn't seem to be making any difference.
Mm-hmm. Your team has a negative habit, right? Let's just call it that, a habit of negativity. Well, our habits are a reflection of our culture, meaning your team is negative because your culture allows them to be negative. And again, don't hear that as like a criticism. There's just, we got to be honest. We have to assess ourselves honestly. So for example, if I want to get healthy, but my habits are that I eat out 5 days a week, I stay up till midnight watching Netflix with my wife, I don't go to the gym, I'm not going to get healthy, right? I have the wrong habits. Well, if our family culture is that we eat out all the time, and all the snacks in our house are really unhealthy, like my habits aren't going to change. My habits won't change until our culture changes. So I'd have to go to my wife and say, you know what, we're going to eat out one night a week. And we're getting rid of all these snacks and putting in healthy options. Also, we got to start going to bed at 10. We can't stay up watching Netflix until midnight. Like, we got to start getting some rest. Let's call it a night at 10 o'clock. And I'm probably need to go join a gym. My habits won't change until the culture changes. Otherwise, the habits that I need are the exception and not the standard. And if they're the exception, they're never going to change, right? I can eat healthy every now and then. I could exercise every now and then, but it's not going to become the standard. So I think looking at what about your culture is allowing negativity. And you're saying you're trying to be a good example, which is part of it. But part of it is holding people accountable to a better mindset, holding people accountable to a better attitude, but reshaping the culture to where negativity isn't allowed in that culture. Because as you start to change that culture, their attitudes will change, their habits will change, because they're going to realize, like, man, we don't get to be negative here. That used to be who we were, but now we're moving in a different direction. And so I think if we want better habits, it will never happen until we create a better culture. And I think part of that is just having a conversation with them. It's like, guys, I see a lot of negativity, and maybe I've contributed to it as well. That can't be who we are. Like, and there's a difference between critiquing something and being negative. But if it's always whining and complaining, it's like, guys, that's not a fun place to be around. Like nobody wants to show up in a place where we're just negative all the time. So if we say we're about, remind them of the values, of the standard, of the expectation. If we say we're about this, well, then let's actually be about that. Because right now we're down here and we're all better than that. I'm better than that. So I'm committed to changing. I'm committed to being more positive, but starting to create that culture to where positivity is the standard.
What if that Virginia is just a regular member of the team and it's actually the team leader that's the negative one? Any ideas there?
No, I think starts with you, whoever you are.
Yeah. Right.
We put a lot on the leader, and the leader by title, and for good reason, right? But if you don't like the culture on your team, you can change it too. Mm-hmm. You can start to hold people accountable to a higher standard. Don't be a jerk about it, right? It's like you can be the one encouraging people. Say, guys, we're better than this. Don't allow people to be negative to you. Say, hey, I hear you. But like, are you wanting to take action, or are you just wanting to complain? It's like, I don't have the capacity to hear complaining anymore. So when you start to live a different standard and hold other people to a better standard, things can start to change. And you don't need a boss to do that for you. You can start to be that change. That's what leadership looks like. It looks like taking ownership. Well, no, but I'm not the boss. I don't care who you are. If you're waiting, that means you're not leading. And there's a reason you don't have the influence that you want to have on a team, is because you're wanting somebody else to do the work for you. And so you can be that catalyst for change. I mean, there are thousands, probably millions of stories of people on every kind of team, right? Sports, healthcare, technology, school, corporate, whatever, where somebody who wasn't the quote unquote leader changed the culture of a team because they chose to show up in a better way and encouraged and challenged other people to do the same thing. So you get to be that culture catalyst if you choose to be.
I agree. I can attest to this firsthand in an environment I was in. And that person will either start to get on board because others will join you. Mm-hmm. And that leader will either start to get on board or they'll not like that environment and they'll leave.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And it takes 12% of people to change a culture.
12%.
12% of people, to good or bad, to change a culture. So look at your team, consider what 12% would be. What if you have a 7-person team? What happens if you start to change? That's significant. What if you get another person who has influence on the team? What if I would find one other person on your team, take them to lunch, say, hey, like, are you as frustrated with the culture as I am? Like, it's negative. I'm not liking it. Let's do something about it. This isn't going behind your leader's back. This is taking ownership. You're saying, hey, you and I have influence. We can change this team. We can make things better. Let's start living differently. And you will. Like if two of you start changing like the way you show up on a 7 to 10 person team, things will start to change. Because other people, including the leader, like you said, they'll either join you or they'll leave.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna say, wait a minute, we don't. Because when you stop allowing negative people, they either change or they leave. Because again, your culture is allowing it. Your culture is allowing them to sit around and complain. My friend John Gordon, who's an author, like he I don't know if it's a book or just a principle. It's called the no complaining rule. It's like, just don't allow people to complain. And there's a difference, by the way, in like having an actual complaint versus complaining. Those are different things. It doesn't mean you're naive. Doesn't mean you overlook things. But it's like there's a difference between like, hey, there's an issue, we got to solve it, versus like I'm just wanting to whine and complain and gossip. Don't allow it.
Yep. Yeah, gossip is the great example as well. Like if you just don't allow, you say, yeah, I'm not doing that. That person will go on to someone else who will allow it, but it won't be you.
That's right. Yeah. And that's the thing, because most people will say, oh, I don't gossip. Great. Do you allow gossip? It's just as bad.
Yeah.
You got to own that.
Yeah. Well, this is great. I think that's all the questions we have coming in. Very helpful, very practical as always. And again, for those of you who are just joining us maybe for the first time, Kevin, we are giving you a free gift of the Giant platform. It is unbelievable, full of amazing content and resources for you if you're working on just self-awareness for yourself, or if you're out there trying to lead a team and just want some great resources there. So just go to giant.tv/culturewins. That will put you kind of in conjunction with Kevin. That way, if you ever decide you need help with your team, he is the one to call on. So he'll be your expert. So. Well, thanks so much, Kevin. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you next time.